What would you do when home is hell, but the only way out leads to a slaughterhouse? Welcome to Jarnsburg, a prestigious school where students govern themselves through violence and the most brutal rules. Eric Ponte, a teenager branded as evil, is forced to make a life-or-death choice. Bow his head in humiliation to graduate, or clench his fists and become the true nightmare of the bullies. The story begins with Eric living in a seemingly normal family. During dinner, silence pervades the table. However, the moment Eric holds his knife incorrectly and accidentally drops it, his stepfather immediately slaps him across the face. After the meal, the man whips the boys back hard with a leather belt. As for the mother, she is too terrified to utter a word to her husband and resorts to drowning out her son's screams of pain with the sound of the piano. It is no wonder that such a life has turned Eric into a bitter and violent person. He is repeatedly involved in fights at school, and after yet another altercation, he is expelled. When Eric returns home, he finds his mother speaking with a lawyer. The man hurriedly greets Mrs. Ponte and then hands the teenager a business card in case he needs it. When the mother is left alone with her son, she acts unusually solicitous toward him, but ultimately announces that he must depart for a boarding school this very day. Upon arrival, Eric is immediately greeted by a tall upperclassman named Otto Silverhelm and appears to be the elite student there. Very politely, Otto gives the newcomer a tour and then escorts him to his room. While saying goodbye, he tells Eric that he can always seek support because team spirit is something particularly valued at this school. Eric quickly meets his roommate, Pierre. The boy loves listening to jazz, reading books, and studying. He and Eric get along very well. Pierre even offers to help his new friend study math. In the evening, Eric enters the dining hall for the first time and notices strict rules regarding seating arrangements. His classmate, Johann, explains that at this school, lowerclassmen are not allowed to sit next to upperclassmen, and the poor are not allowed to sit with the rich. Another student suddenly questions Eric about his father's political views and receives a curt reply. The student council president, Otto, who initially appeared very polite and kind, orders Eric to stand up from the table. His henchman, Delane, takes a knife and taps the handle hard against the newcomer's head as a punishment. The teachers are not exactly shining examples either. For instance, the history teacher illustrates the superiority of certain races over others with the help of his own students. He makes Eric stand before the class and calls him a prime example of the Germanic race, while Pierre is humiliated for being a weakling with features characteristic of Southerners. During lunch, Eric discusses the incident in history class with Johann and once again reveals his emotions. Otto hears this. He orders the new student to step up and accept punishment. Eric refuses, so Otto forces him to stand in the corner for the incompetent. But Eric refuses to do this as well, so he receives yet another punishment. Regardless, life at the boarding school goes on. Eric strives to channel his energy into peaceful activities, studying, chatting with Pierre, and playing sports. He even earns a spot on the swim team, breaking a local record. Pierre is not particularly enthusiastic about Eric's athletic successes. He immediately tells his friend that this could bring trouble. After all, the more one stands out, the higher the risk of angering the student council members. And sure enough, just then, one of Otto's friends enters the room and demands that Eric report immediately to the upperclassmen's dorm. Eric obeys, and right at the door, Delane orders the newcomer to shine shoes for his entire gang. He immediately refuses and walks away. The next day, Pierre cannot believe that Eric dared to challenge the senior students. He warns Eric that if he tries to fight them, he will be expelled immediately, and generally, it is better to resolve all conflicts peacefully. The following day, Delane deliberately bumps into Eric and demands an apology. The new student refuses to apologize, and he is ordered to go to the ring at night. Pierre explains to his friend that it is where the seniors beat and punish the underclassmen. The task is to endure as many blows as possible and then beg for mercy. You can fight back, but it is better not to, and if you do not show up, everyone will call you a rat. Eric decides not to go, and late that night, Otto's henchmen break into their room under the pretext of an inspection. They ransack the place, scaring Pierre to death. The next day, Eric is training in the pool and is informed by the coach that there will be a championship right before Christmas Eve at the school. The tournament was founded by the father of one of the students, Leuenhaupt, and he is the one destined to win. Eric is discouraged by this, but the coach says that with his athletic talent, he should still give it a try. At lunch, Otto announces that the student council will meet in the evening and all guilty students are required to attend. This includes Eric, who is now called Rat by everyone. The meeting looks like a real trial. Eric argues with Otto, the head of the council, and refuses to apologize, resulting in him being sentenced to 2 weeks of hard labor and 8 weeks of confinement to his quarters. The first weekend of hard labor has arrived. Darlene has a task ready for him, digging a small hole. The boy finishes the job even though it is raining, but when he returns, he is given a new task, filling that hole back in. When Eric arrives at the cafeteria for dinner, no one is there anymore. He is served food by a staff member, a Finnish woman named Marja. She is kind to the young man and tells him that he is being treated unfairly. Everyone leaves for the weekend, and Eric is left alone in the dining hall. He meets Marja again. She flirts with him and asks him to meet near a secret smoking spot at 7 o'clock. Eric arrives on time, but he does not understand until the very last moment why the girl lured him there. She kisses the stunned Eric and embraces him. Kloster night has arrived. It is the time when new students are bullied particularly badly by the student council. Eric prepares a defense plan in advance and barricades the door. He and Pierre keep watch for the bullies and stay up all night, but the barricades made of books cannot save them. Otto kicks the door open and pours a bucket of sewage onto the floor and beds. Trying to suppress their nausea, Eric and Pierre clean the room. After filling the buckets with waste, Eric goes to the seniors' quarters, and while everyone is sleeping, he throws it straight into Otto's face. At lunch, Eric jokes that someone at the table smells really awful. He stands up, walks over to Otto, and sniffs him. The senior goes mad and starts hitting the newcomer as hard as he can. Eric cannot fight back. His hands are tied behind his back, and he is about to pass out. But Marja intervenes, and as she screams, the headmaster appears. Otto stops. It is the day of the swimming competition. Eric wins in all events. It is time for the final race, the 300-meter sprint. The coach enters the locker room and tells Eric that he has every chance to beat Leeuwenhoek. The coach promises that if he wins, no one will touch him and swears to take care of it. Eric wins and sets 3 tournament records. He is the absolute champion of the tournament. On Christmas Eve, Eric finally arrives home. His mother praises her son for his excellent grades and the swimming trophy, but his stepfather pays no attention to him. What bothers him most is the poor conduct grade. Eric tries to explain that he just didn't want to be an errand boy for the seniors, but his father refuses to listen. The boy returns to school and notices that some things have changed. Marja avoids him for some reason, and Otto and his friends begin bullying Pierre. Eric realizes that the seniors have now decided to change tactics and harass his roommate, so he decides to quit swimming lessons. Marja, meanwhile, bluntly tells him not to visit her anymore. But Otto and his gang continue their game. One evening, they catch Eric outside the building and take him to a room where Pierre is standing naked. Darlene is bullying him, threatening to press a cigarette but into his chest, so Eric volunteers to take the punishment for his friend, and Darlene presses the cigarette but into him. The boy does not utter a sound despite the extreme pain. Pierre is ordered to get dressed and go to the ring the next day. The following day, Eric tries to persuade Pierre not to go to the ring, but he is determined to fight Otto and stands his ground. The two friends argue, but Eric still goes to watch the fight. Things start off promisingly. Pierre punches Otto straight in the face. This insolence, however, enrages his opponent, and he beats Pierre to a pulp, leaving him nearly unconscious. Even so, Pierre refuses to beg for mercy. Eric witnesses this with tears in his eyes and walks away. Later, when in the room, he promises Pierre that he will deal with Otto and stop him once and for all. But now Otto shifts his target back to Eric. First, as part of hard labor, he is ordered to drive 4 stakes into the ground to build a table. But as night approaches, Eric discovers that these stakes are for him. The bullies tie him to them with ropes and then pour buckets of hot and cold water all over him. He is left alone, at risk of freezing to death. After some time, he is found by Marja, who takes him to her room and nurses him back to health. Back in the room, Eric finds a letter from Pierre. In it, his friend says that he has decided to leave the school and asks him not to hold a grudge. Pierre confesses that Eric is his only friend, and Eric cries tears of loneliness and frustration. After the biology teacher, who was very fond of Pierre, accuses Eric of being a coward and doing nothing, he can no longer bear it. He decides to ignore the risk of expulsion and arranges a meeting with Darlene and another big guy from Otto's gang. The seniors gloat triumphantly. They think they will teach the so-called rat a lesson, but Eric does not look scared at all. On the contrary, he is very confident. He knocks out his opponents quickly. But instead of humiliating the leader of the bullies in front of everyone, Eric just quietly steps out of the ring. He goes to the staff quarters and asks for Marja. A woman in the kitchen informs him that she was fired 3 days ago for misconduct. The students receive their mail, and Otto's friend notices that Eric has received a letter from Finland. The senior immediately goes to the boy's room and confiscates the envelope. The bully reads the message from Marja aloud. She messages Eric not to worry about the possibility of pregnancy, because she always took every precaution and confesses her love for him. That same day, Eric is summoned to the headmaster's office. He informs the student that he has no choice but to expel Eric immediately. The boy does not argue with the headmaster's decision and only asks him to return Marja's letter. The headmaster refuses and advises Eric to simply forget about that girl's existence. Less than 24 hours remain before going home, and Eric decides to teach Otto one final lesson. Eric stalks him in the woods, far from the school, while Otto is walking with his horse and forces him to his knees. The bully has nowhere to run, and Otto offers to give Eric money. He replies that he does not want money. He begins to describe in vivid detail how he will kill him, take his ring, and smash his teeth. No one will be able to identify him. Otto becomes extremely panicked. Eric walks away, leaving Otto sobbing on the ground. While packing his belongings, he remembers that he has the lawyer's business card. The lawyer quickly arrives at Eric's school. Eric goes to the teachers' meeting and points out to the headmaster that he has violated Swedish law, which clearly stipulates citizens' rights regarding personal correspondence. The headmaster still refuses to return the letter, and so the lawyer steps out from behind Eric. He says that he just spoke with a reporter who listened to Eric's story with great interest and now wants to visit the school. The teachers begin to bustle and ask questions. The headmaster realizes that he is in big trouble and agrees to cooperate. A few months pass, and Eric graduates from the school. He returns home with excellent grades that guarantee his admission to any university in the country. But his father is not happy at all. He is dissatisfied with the conduct grade and the incident Eric had with the school. He orders his son to his room, but this time things do not go as usual. Eric threatens that in half an hour, his father will have to go to the hospital because his limbs will be all broken. At the hospital, he will have to claim that he fell down the stairs, and if he tries to involve the police, Eric will immediately tell them everything Mr. Pawnee has done to his family over the years. The father looks at him in shock, and there seems to be a flicker of fear in his eyes for the first time. Some more time passes. Eric visits Pierre and learns that he is going to study in Geneva. Eric takes a job at a law firm. Currently, he is just a delivery boy, but from now on his main dream is to become a lawyer and protect the world from injustice. The two friends shake hands and promise to meet again sometime. The movie ends. Goodbye and see you again.